Browns at Raiders here. Both of these teams coming off of some crushing losses. Browns lost to the Giants. Raiders lost to the Panthers. How we bouncing back here, Carmen? Which matchup that matters here?
Yeah, it's got to be Max Crosby against this Cleveland offensive line. We all know how effective Max Crosby is. He's a one-man game wrecker, and he's going to have some opportunities here because the Browns offensive line, 49.3 PFF pass blocking grade, which is 31st in the league. And meanwhile, Crosby has 11 pressures this season. And to give you some context, the Raiders as a whole have 16. So Max has 11 of he basically has it's an even split between Max Crosby and the rest of the Raiders defense. So I think that he is potentially going to have a field day. We know that the Cleveland quarterback is one of the most sacked in the league, and if this offensive line can hold up at all against what Las Vegas is inevitably going to do, and especially under Antonio Pierce and the pressure that he wants to get and the blitzing that he is going to do in particular.
I think it's a really good call out by you. For me, for my matchup that matters, this is probably the most. I gotta say the phrase right. Not unstoppable force versus immovable object. It's the most stoppable force versus the most movable object.
Movable object, yeah.
Right?
The most unstoppable force versus the most movable object.
That is what we are talking about here because the Browns passing game versus the Raiders in coverage is the matchup that matters. Because I don't know who's going to be worse. When you look at the Browns passing game, again, hate to be negative, but Deshaun Watson, worst EPA per pass in the NFL right now, 32nd overall. He has 124 attempts, which is the third most. So they're putting the ball in Deshaun Watson's hands a lot, and he is not delivering for him. I know it's not all his fault, but this passing game is bad. It is the worst in the NFL right now. They are going up against what is without question the worst coverage grade as a team. 32nd overall. I said that the Washington Commanders had a low 40s coverage grade for just their cornerbacks. Overall coverage as a team, as a whole, the Raiders are dead last in the NFL. 34.5 coverage grade as a team. So I don't know if the Browns are circling this game or what, but basically, if Deshaun Watson can't look good in this offense against this game, you might as well go to Jameis. Like, I don't care what the contract is. You might as well put Jameis in the game because if he can't succeed against the Raiders, he's not going to succeed against anybody. And then on the other side of things, Antonio Pierce sort of had a little bit of his version of a come to Jesus, talk with the media when he said, yeah, there are a lot of players making business decisions out there. We're going to have to make some business decisions as well. If they can't stop the Browns passing attack, it's going to be a long season for the Raiders. So which one of these units can actually show up against what should be an advantageous matchup? That's going to mean a lot, in my opinion. What about a plus factor for you?
Yeah, it's going to be Myles Garrett and I think that's kind of an evergreen statement when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. I talked a lot, obviously, about Max Crosby, but if there's a better pass rusher in the league, it's Myles Garrett. And if he can get past this Raiders offensive line, if he can disrupt this offense in general, I think it's, again, one of those things where it's pretty lopsided, and Myles Garrett is going to be a factor in this regardless. It's just how much and is he going to win out? I guess this is kind of even like a matchup that matters, but it's not a real matchup. It's like, who's going to be more impactful? Is it going to be Myles Garrett? Is it going to be Max Crosby? And I think whoever is for their respective team, that's the team that's going to win this game.
Man, I just realized that my plus factor is also negative. I hate this. Who have I become? I don't like this version of who I have become here. But the plus factor in this one is whoever has the better.
Sometimes it's hard, Trev. Sometimes it's hard.
These two teams are making football pretty hard. Because the plus factor is basically whoever has a better run game right now.
Fair.
Raiders run game, 40.5 rushing grade as a team, 32nd in the NFL, negative 0.528 EPA per rush, 32nd in the NFL. And then on the Brown side of things, 68.1 rush grade, 23rd in the NFL, negative 0.114 EPA per rush, 25th in the NFL. So Raiders are dead last in both those categories, but it's not like the Browns are
that good either.
Much better. So whoever can sort of, whichever team can actually control this game on the ground, given how bad certainly the passing game has been for the Browns, if they can run the ball against the Raiders, they might actually, have a chance in this game. So it's not great all around. Tyler Sobchak, who is our main producer, he's, I know, not really loving this one here. I'm sorry, Tyler, but really rooting for you and your Browns, brother. But I don't see a lot of positives in this game. It will be interesting to see who wins it, though, because it's going to be hard to look at whoever loses this game and see positives throughout the rest of the season. So it'll be interesting to kind of recap this game. And then when you and I have this conversation about one of these teams a week from now, what the outlook is for them.